Hey guys, and welcome back to the Days End Podcast. We have something special scheduled today. We've got a returning guest from season 1, Chris Jackson with Capital K Studios. You'll remember us in that episode that we had our first one on YouTube, which was If You Can't Be Used, You're Useless. Really excited to have you back, man. It's good to have you back.
Yes, sir.
Also on the other end, we have some special guests across the planet in Eastern Africa, and I'm going to mess up the name, so I'm going to let you guys introduce exactly where you're tuning in from. But the Asria Podcast, a new branding, new channel, and so we're really excited for you guys to be on. Let us know where you guys are coming in from.
Yeah, we're coming from Kenya. My name is
Kenya.
Abdi. Yeah, Kenya is part of East Africa. Yeah.
My name is Bill or Bilal. We're coming all the way from Kenya, the coast of Kenya to be precise, the city of Mombasa. So we're here and
Mombasa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the coastal place.
It's the coastal town,
city,
yeah.
Got
so
it.
We're here and
Man,
let's get some fire.
Yeah, we've got a lot to dive into right now. So in this episode, so like I said, for TDEP, this is our first cross podcast episode. And so we don't really know what to expect out of this other than great things. And we're excited to have you guys on board because I spent some time going through, Abdi, some of your prior content on Spotify. Man, you've got a brilliant mind for asking questions. And I'm interested in that because I like the aspect of both the Days End Podcast, what Chris has got going on, and then you guys we're all coming together for this cultural podcast of differences between the United States as well as Eastern Africa. And we've got a bunch of topics to dive into. So I've got a genuine first question for you, Abdi. What I know how the Days End Podcast started, and for me, what that looked like. Give us an insider look into your day one. Why did you even start the podcast? How did that form into adding Bilal onto it and the rebranding to Asriya? Give us a background for your podcast.
Yeah. So basically, before Asriya, the podcast was called Kikao Podcast. Again, I'm big on local names because I feel it's more organic and more welcoming. So Kikao is basically what we're doing right now. It's like a sit-in. It's a Swahili name. It's a sit-in. Same goes for the Asriya. Asriya is like the evening is sitting where you guys meet up, have some tea, and make stories and stuff like that. So the idea is, you get the idea. But this actually started, I think, early 2022. The journey started for me because I've been going through some, how do I put this? A lot of work stress because I work a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get some time off. So I needed something for myself. I needed something that could get me off the edge, make me not think about work or anything. I needed something that I would enjoy, So I love this. I love the idea of sitting down with people and conversing. I love the idea of exchanging ideas with people. I love the fact that you can just sit down with friends over the weekend because you don't get to see friends on the week. That idea was really, really like genuine to me, and I needed to do something about it. So the best thing for me to experience this and experience other people's mind and experience other people's company was to start a podcast. And then the podcast would give me an opportunity to also share this experience with other people. So I figured, you know what, I'm not doing anything. So actually, around last year, which the podcast was the time I started the podcast, I took a break from work because I had an eye surgery. So it's like it was giving me an opportunity to take a step back because I'm not working anymore. So I need to do something to fill up the space. So I took a step back.
Keep the mind busy.
So this was the best time for me to start the podcast. Then I started Kikao Podcast. So the Kikao Podcast was hosting people, sharing the original idea, bringing people and sharing the experiences with them. I've done a couple of episodes, but one of my biggest challenge was I'm not gonna say is I don't know. I think some of the differences between the Kenya and US is gonna show here. A lot of people are not big on sitting down, having a conversation that is recorded. I don't know. It's lack of exposure or something. So I was having a lot of trouble having someone you can have a natural conversation with. So I took a break, like a really long break. maybe like 6 to 8 months, or maybe a year. I'm not really sure though. And I was looking for the right person to do this podcast with, somebody we could go on a journey with, like get something to talk about, experience, and do this. So until Bilal, Bilal was like a fun when the podcast was starting. I never thought like maybe reach out to Bilal, see maybe if he wants to partner up. And I did. He was okay. He was like, let's do this.
Yeah, I got a funny story for that. So Abdi, you guys know him as Abdi. I call him Ibra. So this guy, I met him through his brother is actually my best friend. His older brother is actually my best friend. So I just met him and we started talking about podcasts and sharing ideas about the issue. And he was like, you know what? You have the personality to do a podcast with me. And I was like,
I was
okay.
very picky.
So the thing about this is, and it's a very funny story. So we're both married, yeah? And I'm 8 years into marriage, and
Likewise.
Okay. You guys need to listen to this story. So I'm 8 years into marriage, and I'm married to a very gorgeous woman. We have 3 kids together, and try to have. I'm a very conversational person, so I was trying to have conversations with her, and most of the time she'd fall asleep halfway. So I'm like, so I called Abdi, and I'm like, yo, bro, I have a lot to give. I have a lot of information. I have a lot of stories to tell, and I don't know where to tell them. And see, you're doing a podcast, so how about you have me on board? And Abdi said, you have the right personality. Let's do this, yeah. So we had to rebrand. We had to change the format a little bit from the guest format to the panel format, you see. And here we are now. And it's sort of an escape or a way to fight the midlife crisis. I think we can call it that, because sometimes our wives get tired of us, man. But here we are now, man. Thank you for having us as well.
Yeah, also, like I said, I'm very picky, man. I really needed the right person to do this thing with. So it's been a while, but I finally got Bilal. In fact, here's the funny thing. This is the first episode of Asriya. This is the first episode I'm doing with Bilal.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yo,
that's excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting, and you're right, man. It's I think the power of, and this, I know it's not one of our topics, but I would love to dive into it. The power of relationships, especially with our significant others, to support the things that we're doing, the ventures, especially if you're going off the deep end into like anything entrepreneurial, is significant. And so I definitely understand what you're talking about, Bilal, because I'll go home and I'll talk about the podcast 24/7. That's pretty much everything that's on my mind outside of my 9 to 5, workday. And so when I go home and my wife's like, can we not talk about editing, I'm like, well, listen, I got to edit. I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah, so that's about it. And so Asriya basically is a concept. Yeah. Asriya basically is a concept that we have a sit down, and it's engulfed within the Arabic and Swahili culture, where we have older generation, the 45-year-olds and above. They sit down normally between 4 and 6 p.m. and normally have some tea, and you're going to see that eventually, African snacks and some heavy tea, so that they can have a conversation together and exchange ideas. Sometimes it's banter, and we thought about the concept, and we felt like, since we're having a cultural podcast, we should basically embrace that and tell our story, and let's see how the world perceives it, so here we are now. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak with you guys, and let's see how it goes, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this, because I know for the Days in Podcast Season 2, it's pretty explosive already. Like, this is going to be a pretty wild ride, and so we're hoping to extend that, or to view you guys' growth as a new brand into this Asriya podcast in parallel with what we're doing. And so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that we have the opportunity specifically to be able to podcast and to share a voice in our testimonies, in our culture, and our aspirations with people who care to jump on and listen to it if they will. So I think we just have a really great opportunity here to connect each other, to see some differences, and also to see some familiar items between both of our cultures, with so much distance in between. I don't know what that exact number is, but it's pretty far.
It's like,
which,
it's really far. It's like 20-hour flight, bro.
Yeah, easily. For context purposes, for those who might be listening, it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning for us. It's 6 p.m. on a Friday evening for you
on
guys,
a Saturday.
correct?
On a Saturday.
It's actually a Saturday
Well,
evening.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Okay, so you guys are ahead.
They're
Okay.
ahead, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember one of the funny experiences I've had with Chris before is it was a New Year, right? Like we literally enjoying New Year's, and then Chris is like 6-7 hours before he gets to his New Year's.
Yeah, so we're talking into the future right now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing,
This is your future.
yeah. And the other
Yeah, I
thing
remember that
happened the other day. I was talking to Chris on video call the other day, and I'm done. It's about midnight. I'm telling Chris, "Yo, good night, man. I'm about to sleep." And he's like, "No, bro. It's during the day, man. Just go sleep." It's crazy.
The time difference
that's
is
wild.
massive.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're coming from Pacific, like LA and Seattle area, bro, it's massive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 2 hours behind us, so just having that delay on the East Coast from the West Coast, bro, is big here in the United States.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited. I don't want to go further without showing some appreciation for Chris, because he brought this about. He kind of connected us.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows Chris Jackson, this is probably the most motivated person I've ever met in my entire life. And so from his fitness influencing on WhatsApp between all of us, he's got 18, 20 of us in there, and he's just constantly shoveling some of the greatest like motivational fitness content that we could hope for. And so I appreciate you for getting us connected and getting TDEP the opportunity to do something like this. So that being said, I kind of want to jump into it. I had a specific question when I was driving home last night. So just, I'm in the safety field, right? And I've said this several times on the podcast, and I have been for a long time. And the company that I work for is transportation. I can't talk too much about what happened, but I got called out way late last night because of an incident. And so just the nature of the job and the beast. And so on my way back, though, I got this opportunity to kind of think about what we were going to be doing today and the conversation we were going to be having. And I had this idea pop in my mind, and I just really want to ask it. For us here in the United States, if we're thinking about differentiating between the United States and Africa, on a podcast level, what do you guys notice is the trending topic or the trending subject or the trending style of podcast for Eastern Africa or just Africa in general? Versus I can tell you for the United States, it's kind of like clout, clickbait. Everybody's got this podcast. If you're a Fortune 500 company, like you have to do it now because it's such an awesome opportunity to plug some of the ventures that you're doing, some of the products that you're releasing, etc. And so from that aspect, that's great. But then on the flip side, and don't get me wrong, it can be really entertaining. I think that's like a majority. I feel comfortable saying that's a majority of how the United States utilizes podcasts is for this like clickbaity, clout chasing. Like, how can I really pique somebody's interest to click on my channel? Is it the same for Africa or is it different?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to respond to that. So in Africa, especially in Kenya, we have a situation whereby masculinity and sex is actually the topics these days. Gossip as well. People talking about people's lives and everything. Music, yes. But the most trending topics, I think, is masculinity right now in Africa. And I think that trend was set by you guys in the US, because I think masculinity is big. There's a problem in the US with identity politics and everything. So masculinity, basically, sex, music, gossip, those are the kind of stuff about people in Kenya specifically and in East Africa. Those are the topics that trend. And the podcasts that do really well in East Africa are podcasts that talk about what position works for your woman or what position works for your man, and it's kind of crazy. I think it's a wave, I don't know, but that's what people are listening to right now. I think that's what I meet most of the time I'm online. So I think, yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. But the thing is, the thing that is massive here is every day. I don't know about you guys. Every day something new happens. Especially Kenya. Kenya is like the center of drama activities. Like so many things happens at the same time, and a lot of Kenyans are very active online. So right now, it might be politics. Tomorrow is some guy who's a celebrity, has done something, and it's going to trend big time. But most of the time, the entertainment sector, the gossiping center, the fashion and everything, these are things that move podcast here. We are not big on entrepreneurship and businesses. I haven't met a lot of podcasts. There's like one guy I know who tries to push a lot of that, but nothing major on that.
Okay, that's interesting. Thinking about that as well yesterday, because Bilal, you asked a question in our WhatsApp message between everybody the other day. So do you feel like that push for masculinity and what works for, your woman? And I don't want to get graphic on here, but like, is that because like fertility is in Eastern Africa is like really important? Like what's from a cultural perspective, like what do you think that is?
Yeah, so from a cultural perspective, East Africa is basically a place whereby we have cross religions, different religions. We have Islam, we have Christianity, we have Hinduism, we have almost all the religions here. But now here, fertility is not an issue because, trust me, bro, the average man has at least 5 children. So fertility isn't an issue. The average man has 5 kids and he's way below the middle class level of income. So it's people make babies for a living. That's one. 2, you see, the other challenge that we have here is we have a lot of young people in this country, and then we have less job opportunities to like level towards the number of young people that are active and educated. Education is really big right now in East Africa. People are very, very, very educated. So I think this one is motivated specifically by
being idle.
We are being idle. 1, 2. We have this generation we call the Gen Z. The Gen Z, the other day, they brought the government to its knees because there was an issue with governance and accountability. So these guys are educated. They are young, and they have a lot to offer, but they don't have a place to offer what they. That's what is motivating these kinds of issues, the sexuality, the issues on masculinity, something young people are enthusiastic about, sexuality, and young people are enthusiastic about that. So that's why it really sells in East Africa right now, because people are really idle. People have a lot of time in their hands, but they don't have things to do specifically. And entrepreneurship in East Africa is not as big as you guys. You guys have credit facilities. You guys have different ways of starting businesses. We basically do everything from scratch, and that's crazy, bro. But yeah, here we are, bro.
Yeah, the setup here is very hard.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. So basically,
you guys managed to make that work, bro.
Yeah, man.
Well, it takes a lot. And I don't know. I guess it also takes exactly what you want. For us, it's different. For some people, it's probably somebody like me. You'll find that guy doesn't even know what he wants to do. Literally, the best thing he's looking forward to is employment. And some of us, I'm against something like that. I want to build something for myself. So the drive is also important. You see, drive is also important. And some people are just idle.
That's interesting because, Bilal, you were saying that there's not a huge push for entrepreneurism in East Africa, or in Africa, I guess, which is crazy to think about it, because from my perspective, I feel like if I think about individuals that I've met from Africa specifically that have come over this way, they're like the most entrepreneurial people I've ever met. So that's interesting to know that. Or maybe it's like a luxury that we have this opportunity, and I think a lot of countries look at America like that sometimes. Is we have this
Well, actually, you kind of know America accepts everything and everyone, so it's almost easier for someone to come over here and have an opportunity versus the average United States citizen that's already here. So
right.
That's why I explained that a lot the other day. I was like, man, you come over here, you probably have a better opportunity than some people that was already living here.
Yeah, because we entitled kind of and complacent. And so I was thinking about that like the other day. I back in 2017, late 2017, with my wife. At the time, she was my fiance, and then my dad. We went on a missions trip, and I talked about that in season 1 with my dad. And so we went to El Salvador, specifically San Salvador, and we built or dug a well for the school community of like 200 students of all ages and grades. And because their women were, their older grandmothers in their 80s were like walking 2 miles to get water. It was like mind blowing, and putting it on their top of their head and walking it back, right? And so we came over, we dug this well, didn't really know what to expect going into it. But what I got out of that specifically was the type of appreciation that those people had. Like I said, I think I've said this before, they gave us the best of their year, the best food of like their year, which was hard to believe because it wasn't the most, phenomenal food, but it was for them, like that was the best that they had for the year. And so I think if you look at it, it was such an impact for me because when I came back, people looked at it as like I was on a vacation. But I wasn't on a vacation. I went there to do work, right? In another country, you were talking about tea, every at 2:00 there in San Salvador, they have tea and cake, which makes no sense to me because it's so hot. But it made sense as soon as you had it. It made sense. And so I was thinking about that last night too as I was driving back, which was it's such a convenience from a podcast perspective, from a business perspective, entrepreneurial perspective, with some of the resources and things that we have available to us here in the United States that we get complacent about, like being able to go out on the outside of your house and there's a water spigot, a water hose, and you could drink out of your water hose, and these people have no water. They're going down to a river. And then it's like, okay, you get complacent about that. And then the next phase of that is how big of a house can I get with how many water spigots can I get? You know what I mean? So I was thinking about that cultural difference between maybe America and some of the things that we take for granted versus Eastern Africa. I don't know what the demographics like in terms of, or the economics are like over there specifically. Maybe you can touch on that. Like where do you see Eastern Africa right now from an economic standpoint? Like, are you guys flourishing?
On paper, we actually are. We actually crazy on paper. The reality is the chances of success for an individual is very minimal, right? So unless you have like a huge backing, like financial huge backing, the chances for you to survive in an entrepreneurial setup is very, very minimal. And I can give an example. Like somebody like me, I can start a business, but the cost of running the business is gonna kill me over time before I get the success of the business. Yeah. Because everything has to come from my pocket. Like Bilal said, we don't have like a credit setup here. And even if we do, they are quite aggressive on their returns and their interest and stuff. You understand? So, but as according to the governments and stuff and investors coming from outside, the opportunities here is massive. The real estate business is booming like crazy here in Kenya, especially. I've been reading about Tanzania and Zanzibar, but in Kenya it's crazy high. Like people are buying apartments and houses and selling them. The land is always going up in Kenya. I think there's only one time where land was going like depreciating, and that was I think around 2008.
Yeah, during the post-election.
Yeah. So other than that, like the businesses are doing good, investors are coming in large masses, and then Kenya we are like really like well strategized geologically. We have the port, we have like beautiful weather and stuff. So people coming from outside invest and their companies are very successful. But a local person like us who tries to do something similar will struggle a lot. Will struggle a lot because the opportunities for success is not as available as unless you're like muscled on finances.
I actually see the same in the United States. Like I just said before, like we live here. So yeah, we have the opportunity, but someone else could come and do exactly what we're trying to do, you know what I'm saying, and flourish with it over here in America versus their own country, you know what I mean? I have no idea why it's like that in America, but it sounds like almost the same that's in Kenya as well.
Yeah, but I can tell you why. Okay, so in Kenya, basically, we depend on agriculture and natural resources. We really have a lot of natural resources. We have gold, we have red garnets, green garnets, things that you guys, or let me not say you guys, but investors, Americans, Americans come here and exploit the natural resources, and we get a fraction of it, but most of it goes out. But now the challenge that is here is because we have a lot of the opportunity is there, yes, okay. Now, why people come from Africa probably and come to the US, probably Dallas, Texas, or wherever, and really succeed is the drive. You know why? Because I could do the same job you do and expect to be paid $5,000, and I would be happy to be paid $2,000. I'd be happy to take $2,000 because $2,000 back at home is enough for my family for a while, Yeah, so
Yeah.
so we come there and offer something that you guys would offer at a higher expense, and then we offer it at a lower expense, and then we benefit from you guys. By the time you guys realize it, we're earning the same as you guys, and we're very motivated because of poverty, man. Poverty is the enemy.
Actually,
So
I
what is-
wouldn't say poverty. Yeah.
Oh, so what is right now? What is the American dollar in Kenyan shillings?
It's around
Right now it's like 128.
28, yeah, 128, yeah.
So
So
basically,
it's
if I
$1
have
dollar.
like, yeah, it's like 128 shillings. If I have like $100, that's gonna be 12,800 shillings.
Yeah.
So what does that get you? Is that good? Like
Oh,
$100
bro.
US dollars is
Yeah, like some people. This is something that I came to saw here in the coast. Some people survive on less than $100 a month. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you need to also understand the average. Let's say we use kilograms here. I don't know how to use pounds, but I'm just gonna say like the average 1 kilogram of steak that you guys probably buy for, I don't know how much. We buy it for. It's around 580 shillings. That's like give or take $4. We buy 1 kg for around $4. I don't know how that translates to you guys,
I think
but
it's actually almost the same.
it's almost the same. I don't know, but I think things are cheaper here compared to you guys. I don't know. Probably.
No. Yeah.
I can expound on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the average steak here per pound, which I don't know the conversion of that either.
It's like
I guess we're all
1.3,
gonna-
something like 1.3.
Yeah.
1.3 pounds. Yeah.
I pay about anywhere from $25 to $30.
You see, that's.
Oh,
very-
you see, sir, $30 can get me like half a goat, or like 7 kgs.
That's a lot of meat.
That's
a lot of meat.
Yeah, it's definitely cheap.
Yeah, that's
But you see,
the
the thing
epidemic that's
is-
happening right now.
So you see, the difference aside, here we get a lot of more organic products, like the animals are more organic, the vegetables and stuff. Like I was telling some of my friends, there's a guy who went to the States and came back, and he was telling me, you see, KFC and McDonald's and all Big Macs and stuff, like to you guys is nothing, bro. Like you guys, it's like, how do I put it? It's like normal. Yeah. For if you go to KFC and you spend like 25 to 30 to 25 to 30
Dollars.
USD.
Yeah.
For us,
That's a
for us,
luxury,
it's
bro.
massive, like,
That's a luxury.
yeah, that's luxury here. You get it? Like that
I remember you
money
telling
can
me, yeah.
Yeah, man.
yeah. So if you're using like that money, it can push you for like a whole week on groceries and stuff. Like you get vegetables, good vegetables.
Yeah.
You get meat and stuff for like a whole week. You understand?
For a family of 5 or 6, bro. So
And that's the difference.
Wow.
So like I'll give you guys some context here. My 1-bedroom apartment here in McKinney, Texas is roughly almost about $2,000 a month.
Wow.
that's
Like,
oh
you
my
actually-
In
god.
the same context, 2-bedroom apartment is less than $300. Actually, it's less than it's like $200.
Moving to Kenya.
So
Yeah,
I think I'm paying like $200 for my apartment, which is exactly 200.
It's almost the same standard as what you guys pay for, but you see now I don't know, but it's way cheaper. I pay around $214 for my apartment. I don't know, it's cheap, bro.
Bro,
Man,
if I'm
I
paying
pay
$2,000 here in Kenya, I'll be living next to the president.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was gonna say. Man,
Yes,
I
bro.
pay,
Yes.
Yeah, I pay $1,500 for a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, or 2 bathroom. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why apartment buildings are cost more than the actual house does. I have no idea why.
Well, it's also that we're in this this bubble here in McKinney that happens to be one of the wealthiest towns in America at the moment, and it definitely was a couple years back. And so there's just a lot that's happening here from a economic boosting. Yeah, it's just growing. This is Dallas, the Metroplex specifically is second or tied for first for the fastest metropolitan growing area, right? So you think about the amount of people that are coming to Texas. I think they averaged it out to like 600 to 800 people a week or a day or something like that. So there's just a lot of activity that's happening here in the Texas region specifically, but then also Dallas. Pretty sure that Dallas has already surpassed Houston in terms of the amount of people that we have living here. And back in 2000, when I moved to Houston, it was past, or it was bigger than Dallas at the time. So there's just been a significant push for innovation and for growth, and it's one of the fashion capitals, of the United States as well as tech. And so it's wild to look at that change between, or the difference between what our dollar does for you guys specifically. And it was the same way for San Salvador. A lot of their, the locals' frustration was that Americans were retiring, taking even just $30,000 of their retirement, which for an American is pretty low, considering that I wouldn't say the average American retires with about $1 million, but probably about half or something close to that, right? And so if they were taking $30,000 going to San Salvador, buying mansions, right? And so for their culture, for their men that were only making $900 a year.
Oh my God.
30,000. That's 30 years. You retire your entire life there. Basically, you've got butlers and all this kind of stuff. And so I could see where that could be frustrating, because the work isn't different. It's not like, oh, we work so much harder here in America. That's not really honestly true, because a lot of what we do is stationary. And so we are hardworking individuals, and I'm not knocking America. I love it here. But it's interesting to see that divide and how that affects the locals in different areas. And I just wonder what the repair is there, how we culturally come together to figure that out. And I think crypto might be an answer for that. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I think crypto is going to be massive in the next coming years.
Yeah, I think the concept of an unregulated currency that doesn't depend on any system or setup, especially governments. Governments think, okay, let me put it this way. In Kenya, specifically the country we're in, it's not that we don't make money, it's not that we don't have money. No. But the level of theft in this country,
the corruption levels here in Kenya,
if America had quarter of the level of theft that happens in Kenya specifically, oh my God, I think that country would be on its knees. I promise you, man. These guys steal. Oh my God, I can't explain it.
Let me put that into context.
Yeah, please explain.
You see, Texas, Texas is bigger than Kenya.
Right.
The economy of one of your states, like let me think. I was reading this thing some days back. I think one of the states, like I think it's Wyoming. They have like I think it's Colorado. I'm not really sure. Okay, the thing is, the budget, the GDP of Wyoming or Colorado is bigger than the one in Kenya, right? But Kenya, we had a president who said we'll lose 2 billion every day, Kenya shillings. That's like average it is like between 18 to 20 million a day.
US.
That's the government that is saying, and they cannot trace it back. They have so many projects running on paper, but if you go there like physically, like the president here was saying, hey, we're gonna build you like a road, and it's gonna help you guys with your economy and stuff. And then once the president is gone, like 5 years down the line, nothing is happening. So the money is they just took the money, and they do that for the PR. So it's crazy.
Crazy.
You have a very small economy, GDP, than one of your states. Like
so that's why
they
you
just
were using Wyoming. Yeah, so Wyoming is like in America the lowest GDP grossing state. Versus like California and Texas, which is the heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? California is the richest.
And it's way smaller than Wyoming economy.
So I'm not even comparing to the US as a country. I'm just comparing to one of your states. It's crazy.
Right. Just one of the states. That's crazy.
So the corruption levels.
Is that done through taxes?
Oh no! I don't think it's.
Okay, so let me explain that. Okay, so we have we have tendering processes. We call it procurement. Do you know how they do procurement here is you actually have to you have to apply. If you have a company, or if you have an entity or an agency that can probably build a road, a 100-kilometer road, to the tarmac road specifically, you go, you apply. Okay, so when you apply, the government sets the money that is required to pay for that specific project is set in this way. So if it's 100 million Kenya shillings, I'm going to use our money, but you'll get the concept. So if it's 100 million Kenya shillings that is supposed to build a 30-kilometer road, the government sets it at 150, so that the contractor has enough funds for miscellaneous and has enough funds for profit as they do the project. For you to get, after you've applied for the tender, so for you to get the tender, there's something we call blowback. So whoever is handling the procurement process, you have to slap something on his face. I'm talking about money. So if they gave you 150 million, they go like, okay, I need 10% of the money up front before I give you the project. So that's how these people steal, bro.
Another way is through inflation. So they inflate things, They inflate things. Something that is supposed to cost like $100. These guys will say this thing is costing 1,000 or 2,000. So they're inflating it. Yeah. Another way is they also use dummy companies. So let's say I'm giving you guys the job opportunity is there, like the project is there. I'll register a company through Chris. Then I'll ask Chris to apply as other companies are applying it. Then give Chris the contract. Then basically I'm running the contract because the company is mine, which is registered through Chris. And then basically if Chris doesn't do it, like it's okay. He can like do like a PR show, bring in some caterpillars, do the road and stuff.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah. And then after that they just leave it.
It's proxy. We do proxy, a lot of proxy projects.
Yeah. So a lot of things are stagnated. A lot of projects are there. We have so many things like supposed to be happening, they don't. So the corruption level is insane.
It's insane, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. The integrity level is also like almost zero. I don't think we have any integrity, especially the leaders.
But we'll get to the good side of Kenya, though. Yeah, we do have a good side as well. So yeah, we do have a good side as well.
It's we never want to. I think there's just challenges no matter where you are, right? From a demographic standpoint. And so there's good things, there's bad things. I wouldn't say everybody's 100% super happy with some of the things that are happening in America. But then at the same time, there are some really amazing stuff. So it is very difficult to live here in McKinney. But at the same time, if you live here in McKinney and you can make it, it's such it feels like home. It's just a very old atmosphere. They've got like a brick and mortar style, like town square, right, where they're always doing events and bringing the community together. So it can be this like really good experience, but it can also be really tough.
Yeah, Chris was saying the other day, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, we talked the other day, and I was explaining a lot of the bad things that happen in the United States, but bad things happen in every country. You know what I'm saying? But
everywhere, yeah.
Over here in the United States, what's natural and normal to us is like it'll blow their mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people, drive-bys, you know what I'm saying, drug activities shootings. And stuff like that, bro. Yeah, shootings and stuff. So the average
shooting
American
thing is scary to me.
Yeah, the average thing to American, bro, we hear about it. It's sad, but life goes on.
It is what it is.
We don't think nothing of it because it happens everywhere in our country, but especially in Texas. Texas got the most guns out of anyone, so it's real hard to go to a different country and then y'all think it's normal over there, and then you come over here and it's like an action movie.
That's crazy. Like I was imagining, like, can you believe you're going to a gun shop, come up, go by, and then get out of the place with a gun? That is insane.
That's crazy, bro. How would you do that?
That's how it works here. That's like you really can walk into a store here in America, say I have a gun license, so if I want to purchase a gun, it's literally the exact same steps as me going to go buy maybe some chips or a TV from the store. The exact same process.
Here
I'll get
in
it the
Kenya,
same day, pay for it, and that's it.
Here in Kenya, you actually need to have like a certain amount of wealth before they even consider giving you a license. So you should be like pretty rich. And then they're like, the next question is, what are you protecting yourself from? Also, that's another thing. Like it's a long
process. Yeah.
Before you get it, it's really long. So
wow. So how's the crime? So I know if you don't have guns there, You know, I know you guys have knives and weapons, of course, but like, how's the
Mm-hmm.
crime besides the stealing that you mentioned earlier?
Okay, let me explain that. Yeah, our government has pretty much taught us how to do crime without hurting each other. Let me put it that way, because Kenya. let me explain what I mean. Yeah,
Peaceful crime.
So, yeah, peaceful crime. The government steals from us daily. It screws us daily. I don't know. I'm sorry if I use strong language. Please just check me. It's okay. So our government, yeah. So it does something we call budgeted corruption. Okay. So they basically steal from you. What Adi was saying, budgeted corruption is basically inflating prices. It's basically putting the money in plain sight, but you really can't see it. That's the first thing. So how does crime happen here? So I'll give you an example. We have mobile scams, and mobile scams are big, and I think that's like the biggest way, the biggest kind of crime that happens in Kenya. People steal from you openly in daylight, but they don't steal by force. No, you give it to them. People are very smart here, man.
I think scamming is also big.
Scamming is big in US as well. I think. Huh?
So
Yeah.
if let's say I was to take a trip to Africa, me and Will was we're just on the street and we're about to get ready to purchase something. How would they charge? Like you say, would they charge us more because we're from America, or
Definitely, yeah. Like let me
so
give
is that
you a
the way
story.
they steal?
A short
You say
story.
like
Okay.
That's just one of the
That's
ways.
one of the ways. Yeah.
These guys, there's a white lady who was boarding a matatu. Matatu is like the public transport here in Kenya, and then a distance where you pay like 20 shillings, the guy was asking this lady to pay 200 shillings. Why? Because she doesn't know. So
Yeah.
she's taking advantage of her.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how we basically steal.
Yeah, but at least the people in the public transport, they were actually furious about it, and they were like, no,
No, you can't do
shouldn't
that.
take
to her.
advantage of
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
But again, for instance, you guys come to Kenya, and then immediately somebody notices that you guys are foreigners. So this is going to happen. Everything that you're going to need, or everywhere you're going to go, everything is going to be inflated, especially your transport, your food, and the hotels. So anything that's supposed to be like $50, $10, they will either triple or even quadruple
Quadruple.
it.
Yeah. True.
You understand?
wow.
Yeah. So I might come to pick you up at the airport and say the money I used is maybe like 3,000, but in actual sense I used like 500 shillings. Or
Wow.
the hotel that I'm gonna take you is so they inflate everything. They do that to foreigners. But what about the crime
Amongst ourselves.
Yeah. So basically, this guy will come with a knife and tell you, yo, give me anything that you got. If they don't, they stab you. So that's the crime that we experience here on a day-to-day experience.
So if you're good with hand combat, you're probably never getting anything taken away from you, bro.
We're good to go then, brother.
No, it's interesting to see the difference between that, where we can go into a store and we can purchase a weapon pretty easily, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only, you don't even have to go into a store, to be honest, man. You just jump on, a marketplace or a brokerage place online and that sort of thing. But it's also for self-defense that you probably don't have to use, even if you're fortunate ever in your life, and so, but to think about that, like, we're also not getting robbed usually by knife point unless you're in a pretty rough area, which we have that here in the United States as well. But it's pretty wild. I'm curious, and this is kind of changing the flow or the subject a little bit.
Yeah.
But what are some of the technical advancements that are happening in Eastern Africa that you feel like are kind of advancing the economics for that area? Like, is there like a specific market that you feel like is promoting Eastern Africa, whether that's mobile banking, fintech? How is this reshaping like your daily life for the community?
Okay, so we had a problem accessing loans. We had a problem accessing credit. We had a problem accessing ways of funding our ideas or ways of funding our businesses. I think that has been probably the best advancement we've had lately, because now we have mobile apps. We have easier ways of getting credit right now.
Yeah.
We have easier ways of getting credit, but we still don't like what we have. We don't like the options that we have, because the interest rates are pretty high, because Kenya, the life standards are quite expensive to us, trust me, because the income is not growing with the level of the economy. You understand? The income in our pockets is not growing with the level of taxation that's happening in the country. Okay, so
everywhere,
so the tech. If I'm to talk about the tech, I've seen great advancements in tech, especially on matters agriculture. These days we have a small farm somewhere, and so when there's a new weed. Okay, weed to you guys is a different thing, but you know what I mean, right? Like these things you know what I mean, yeah? Yeah, so so weed, yeah. So if you have weed in the we call it shamba here in the farm, if you had so there's an app that has been created right now. You can take the picture of that weed, and then when you put it on the app literally tells you what kind of weed it is and how to solve it. So these are part of the things that are happening right now, and we have a lot of technical advancements that are taking place right now. From the top of my head, that's one, because we're big on agriculture, we're big on minerals, but that is a big boy game. Trust me, it's a big boy game. For instance, the other day we were digging a hole, like a sewage hole, because the area where the farm is, we don't have proper sewage system, so we were digging a hole for a sewage hole down, and we went up to, I think it was 13, 14, 15 feet. We got there, and trust me, one of the person who was digging there found a kind of stone. It was, we call it a red garnet here. I don't know if it makes sense. Red garnet, have you heard of it? Red garnet, it looks like a diamond.
I personally haven't. No.
Yeah. So the guy found red garnet, and then he couldn't shut his mouth, bro. He came up and he's like, "What is this?" And I don't know what happened, but we have local chiefs. I don't know if it's a thing, like the sheriffs in your place. We have local chiefs. In 30 minutes, the local chief was there with officers, and he's like, "Now this is government area." We were taken out and we were told we should go to the lands office, and the next thing we know, we were being relocated by the government. So it's crazy here. It's a big boy game.
So they found basically something minerals inside the land, and now the government takes
minerals
over
the government doesn't beg you, man. It takes it away from you.
But I think, to answer well, one of the biggest game changing phases for East Africa was M-Pesa. That is the mobile payment system,
money transfer,
mobile banking. Actually started here in Kenya before anywhere else in the world. So it's massive right now. So we started like almost 20 years ago.
2006, yeah.
And if you come in Kenya, you'll actually realize it's really, really big. Yeah. Every transaction, people don't even do banks, basically. Like, a lot of people prefer putting their money on M-Pesa.
On their phones.
Because it's easily accessible. Anywhere, anytime. They pay for transport, food, hotels, anything, like literally buying clothes and stuff. It's like working with a debit card or a credit card here. Another thing, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. I actually have a Silicon Savannah, basically like Silicon Valley. Kenya. Silicon Savannah is we are developing a full techno city.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be up by 2030. But everything here is technological wise, we are massive. Like I think I can say we're
East Africa,
ahead of every other country in East Africa.
East Africa, yes.
Yeah, through internet connections and stuff. Like we are spearheading a lot of projects here in Kenya. So Kenya is like a massive player on the internet. The connections, you can actually, whatever we are doing right now, can tell you like where we are in terms of development. So big things in terms of tech, we're big, we're massive. Like, we do a lot of projects. Like he said, he's way into agriculture and stuff. I'm not really into that. But when you come to Nairobi,
Go.
Is there like a big push for AI? I mean, I know it's a global thing at this point, for sure. But is that like huge for what those advancements are?
Yeah, like AI is massive here in Kenya. Like a lot of people are doing projects. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think when ChatGPT was in the development process, there was actually some Kenyan developers who were working alongside with the ChatGPT people. So in terms of that, it's massive. Like, these people are imprinted. A lot of people are aware. Oh, right now there's a massive war between Starlink, the Elon Musk,
Elon Musk internet,
and a local one, because Elon Musk just came and giving people like access to the internet in remote areas.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are flocking towards the Starlink.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's also cheaper and
Really?
way
Than the
faster.
local?
Yeah.
Plus,
Way faster.
just to add on that, the Elon Musk thing started the other day. We were having protests in the country, and the local network provider, they shut us down because we were sharing information. We used to have spaces on formerly Twitter. We used to have spaces, and that's where we would plan the next demonstrations, and that's where we would like go and convene and plan the next day's events. Yeah. So do you know that the national network provider did? They were influenced by the government. They shut us down for like 6 hours, and we declared war on them, and we said we're migrating to Starlink, and we started pushing a hashtag to Elon Musk because that's his platform. We pushed a hashtag, bring us Starlink, and the guy literally brought it. And guys are biting it now. Yeah, and the local provider now is the owner of M-Pesa, the one who provides the internet currently. We're very petty, bro. The local provider is M-Pesa. And do you know what they did? They literally removed the option of paying for Starlink through M-Pesa. Like, that's how they were countering. I'm like, what's wrong with you people, man? That's business you're taking away from yourselves, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah, and another thing, I wanted to talk about the online army. So, like I said, like Kenyans are bullies online, and it's actually well known within Africa. You know what we did this year is we got the president to have a sit down with the people on X. Like he was like, "You guys wanna come to me," and then the people were like, "Nah, if you wanna come for
come to
conversation,
us.
talk, you come to us, come to X, and we'll hold a space for you." We actually did that, and he came, and it was impressive because every other African countries were like, "Wow, these guys are crazy, man." They did that to their president. African presidents are known to be dictators and do things on their own way. So we have this online massive army. It's built up of young people, the millennials and the Gen Zs. If we had actually this conversation like 2 months ago,
Keyboard warriors.
yeah, I know. So if this conversation was happening like 2 months ago, you'd be surprised. Like we almost took over the countries.
It was crazy. It was very crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Go on. Yeah.
Internet is powerful.
So that's one of the things I'm actually very proud of here in Africa.
So technology is big, bro. It's coming and it's big. Yeah.
Tech. So what I'm getting from this is tech is not just increasing the opportunity for commerce, especially digital for you guys specifically, which is where I think, well, a lot of our tech here, and I think for probably the world, it helps with medical solutions and different aspects. Musk even uses it, especially AI for, I'm sure for projections for for SpaceX and all that kind of stuff. But like what I'm hearing for Eastern Africa specifically is tech is being used to give people voices, to give people the opportunity to come together, to gather together for the benefit of the countries, the communities, and really vocalize yourselves. Whereas previously you didn't have that opportunity because you may not have had the same advancements.
Also on the health sector, I'm going to tell you, man, it has massively improved. Before, people would be taken to South Africa or India for medical procedures and stuff. But a lot of things we do them here in Kenya right now. We have the technological advanced equipments, like even local hospitals, like within the community, some of them have some really massive equipment. So other than the fight with the government, other than the development on the other stuff, here is been accepted massively by even the older generation. The communication has really improved. Yeah. So in places you didn't expect a lot of things. Like you go to deep places, you'll see things that it's impressive. It's impressive.
But again, to add on what he's saying, there's a caveat to it. There's a flip side to AI in Africa, especially. You see, in the US, you guys use AI to create more opportunities. Here, it's used by employers to reduce the what do you call the thingy, the payload, or can I put it that way? Yeah, they use it to reduce the payload.
Workforce.
The workforce, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yes, they use it to reduce the workforce and the expenditure they use on running their businesses, which is supposed to be a good thing. But then people are losing jobs, you know.
But
And
on the other side, I would
yeah.
say, actually, Bilal,
Yeah.
on the other side, I would say, it has given a lot of people opportunities.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of developers. Like, I know some guys who are doing the video for photography
Yeah.
and photography and stuff. And they're using it to come up with like really awesome concepts and stuff. Some guys, a friend of mine who just literally started doing animation, he's using AI.
AI, yeah.
So as much as they are offloading their workload and the workforce and stuff, a lot of people are running towards AI to come up with concepts that are modernized and fast. People are using AI to actually create businesses concept, and I am use it to like implement it. I actually did something like that. So
And the other thing, yeah,
Shopify
we're
and,
struggling.
things like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you see, but now the only thing I think AI is good, yes, but the only thing now we're struggling with amongst our Kenyan youth and the Kenyan people right now is awareness and training on how to prompt and how to use AI specifically, and the awareness of it. And because we have a lot of rural areas, we still have challenges with internet, we still have challenges with electricity, we still have a long way to go before we enjoy the full extent of what AI brings to us. So people like us in cities like in Mombasa, we have Nairobi city, we're ahead of time because we're learning about these things and we're following up on these things. But we have the remote Kenya, we have the country Kenya, and trust me, man, we need to build an awareness, and that's part of our project with Abdi. We wanted to start creating awareness, like civic education. In Africa, we call it civic education for how the government works, but now we want to do civic education for AI and tech, and we wanted to start doing it and start going to the remote areas and telling these people, you know what, AI is here, but it's not a bad thing, and we need to start learning from it. So it's literally a process, and we need people to invest in.
He's not gonna take over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it, bro.
Yeah.